guess where we are, guys? Been here several times before. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, I'm in Buxton again. And this time I'm going to go on a different route to the town of Whaley Bridge. So, here we are at the train station. Going to come round here through the town, probably through the Pavilion Park actually, which is very nice, and may grab a coffee and then out onto the St John's Road, which leads out of the town up towards Macclesfield. Morning campers, how the devil are you? Yeah, I'm in Buxton, as you can see from the beautiful buildings, the architecture behind me. Lovely sandstone buildings reminiscent of Bath and other places that I remember from down south. And pretty much all the buildings are like it. So it's a very picturesque place. Lots of trees, especially now that the autumn's come and the leaves are falling and changing colour. Nice as well to see that Buxton has got its own brewery and its own tap house with what looks like a restaurant, and again those great sweeping curves of the Victorian sandstone. Lovely to see. It looks like Buxton is also preparing for some kind of Christmas market stalls to the Pavilion grounds now, and chose a really good day to do this. I'm glad, because it was yesterday, as I've mentioned in previous videos, finding a good day when it's also my day off is very few and far between, so I'm really glad. Blue sky, fluffy clouds, a good day for a walk, a bit of a brisk chill to the air, but I don't care about that. So I have turned off at Christchurch in Burbage, just outside Buxton, and now heading up this really steep hill, which is, as I've mentioned on previous videos, supposedly the Macclesfield Old Road. This is the route that people would have taken before the main road was built over that way, that follows the more less of a steep incline through the valley. And boy, it takes it out of you, this one. Not for the faint-hearted, just pretty much up, up, up. But as I have already mentioned on previous videos too, once you're up, and the only way is down. So nearly at the top of the hill now. You can see where the gravel starts just down there, and the tarmac road comes to an end at that little farm on the left. And it's pebbles and gravel from here on up. And although I have gone up here and turned right before, immediately here and a little bit further on to go in two different routes, I've never actually followed the old road any further, so it's going to be interesting to see how much of it exists. What I'm trying to do is go to a third final turn off to the right, which hopefully will take me down to the other side, the western side of the Fernley Reservoir today, and see something new. On previous videos I've looked at lots of deciduous and coniferous forest on the other side of the reservoirs, and talked about them and how beautiful they looked. So it'll be interesting to see just how many amazing colours we can see now that autumn is almost coming to an end. In fact, a lot of the trees have dropped completely. So onwards ho! So as we wave goodbye to Buxton in the valley below and head to the top of the hill here, you may remember this tunnel from many walks ago. This used to go on the railway down to Whaley Bridge that doesn't exist anymore, across the tops. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put the name on the screen here. And you can see where it goes in the opposite direction, which I haven't followed. Just about make out the flattened track bed. And I presume it used to join that road at some point, or at least run alongside it, the one that's got all the traffic on it over there. But in the meantime, we're going to veer off up this track and see what the old Buxton to Macclesfield old road used to be like. I don't think I'd want to come up it in any vehicle, to be honest, let alone a cart. Better view from this angle, and if you've seen my High Peak Railway video from quite a few months ago now, you'll recognise that bank. You can see the valley on the left and the valley on the right, and somebody has filled in a track bed across with a man-made mound of material in order to support the train as it went past. And with it being steam trains, it must have been able to hold quite a load. So there we go, all that effort. And how long did it last? 90 years? Yeah, so Buxton dwindles away down in the valley behind me, and it's getting a bit chilly now. Now that I'm getting near the top of the hills, the wind chill factor is coming in with the wind blowing across the tops here. So I've put my hat on and my fleece, even though I feel really quite puffed out and hot from that steep hill. But chill factor, I don't want to get hypothermia, so wrap up. I might even put an extra layer on in a minute. Oh, I can't wait to see what's round this corner. It's a spectacular view the higher you get up. The wind is starting to howl a little bit now, and although you can probably see vestiges of blue sky over there into the distance, as I pan round to the left, you can just see just how angry things can get up on the tops here very quickly, especially in the Greater Manchester Valley and the surrounding valleys, the Goyt Valley and such like. And it's very fast moving. I'm heading straight into it, so I do have my waterproofs with me, but fingers crossed it blows over quick. And if it doesn't and things do get hairy, at least I know I've got a all the way downhill escape route back to safety. So one thing that always surprises me when I come out on these walks in the Pennines is the different numbers of colours, even though we think of the place as being very stark and bleak. You got the various different greens of the mosses on the rocks over there, and the grasses, the dried burnt out grasses there that almost peachy kind of brown colour. And then just still, even in a sort of two-tone, it would seem at first, landscape like this, you can see just the mouldings and scrapings and fences and hedgerows and trees, different colours of the autumn trees, of course, at the moment. And it's just, you need to just let your eyes settle for a moment and just take it all in, even just the light coming through the clouds, breaking through the clouds and onto that hillside over there in the distance makes so much difference in the contrast and the hues. So I've reached the car park, which I seem to remember being on my maps when I looked at it on my PC at home. My phone map isn't quite so good, and I presume continue up into the distance is the continuation of the Macclesfield Old Road through that dark gorge there on the right. I'm going to check my map again now, but I think this little path off to the right, on the cattle grid, over the cattle grid should I say, I think this could be my road, the one that leads down the left-hand side or the west-hand side of the Fernley Reservoir, and the other one, can't remember the name of. So I'll check my map and try not to crack my leg open on the cattle grid. So yeah, I am indeed on the right track, and as you can see, this little ravine down to the left of me is a baby Goyt. This is the start, or nearer to the start of the River Goyt. One of its many tributaries. My mouth's got all cold and numb. Sorry, I can't speak. This is one of many tributaries, I imagine, that feed into it eventually and make it the roaring river that it is that I've seen on other walks further down the Goyt Valley. But here it is in its little baby form behind me, just babbling away. The main arm of it, at least, until it gets bigger, down to the reservoir. Of course, it feeds the reservoirs and then continues on after that. Already you can see the Goyt stream, the baby stream, carving its way quite deeply into this little ravine here over the last millennia, and it's picking up pace as well. You know, as the rain we've had over the last few days is draining through the spongy surrounding hillsides into the river. It's getting bigger and bigger by the minute, and not ferocious by any means, but you know, fairly powerful. And I'm very, very careful not to get too close to the edge here, because as you can see, both sides in fact, but certainly this side from the road, one false step and you'd tumble all the way down and smack your head open. So taking it easy, despite the fact that I'd love to get down there and get some better shots of the little waterfalls and such like. And as I came onto this road, as I turned off right onto this little road, my curiosity was piqued by this no entry sign that I saw, you know, forbidding cars to come down this road in this direction, and I can see why now. You know, it's steep incline up this way, and it's a steep drop down over this way into the river valley, and a genuinely single track road. If two cars tried to pass on this road, that would be, you know, a recipe for disaster. They could probably do it if they were really careful and both itched as close to their side as they could, but yeah, you can understand why this is a one-way road, which is unusual in the countryside. You know, usually that's reserved for city centres and one-way systems and things like that, to control the flow of traffic in busy built-up areas. So it's unusual to see it here. Yeah, very much like some of the roads in Wales, I remember from our holidays when we were kids. One good thing, of course, about having a one-way road through the hills like this is that I'm going against the flow of the traffic, so I don't have to worry about touch wood. Don't have to worry about cars coming, or traffic, or motorbikes, or anything like that coming up behind me. So I don't need to keep checking behind me. The road is very narrow, and I've had to quite a few times step off to the side into the undergrowth to let cars past, and just one cyclist just now. But yeah, good. And as I've come over the tops there now, and you can see the sun trying to come out behind me there through the clouds, but that sort of bank of rain seems to be passing over in that direction, and all the way in front of me now, apart from the occasional heavy looking one, is amazing looking sky, and the weather is getting warmer, and you know, the sky is just singing ELO at me. Stream far down there in the valley now, and you can see just a tiny little bridge over there with the footpath going off into the distance up the hill, and indeed it's signposted as well, footpath to Buxton via Plantation and the Old Road. So maybe that's another possibility for me to explore at some point. Now that I think about it, that footpath that I was talking about just now, that is the one that I came on one of my last walks, because I remember, do you remember this little bridge? That was the other side of it at the time. Looks like it's blocked off at the moment, and I'm getting it's so close to the edge there. I have to move away, sorry. So yeah, I was trying to remember, do you remember that? Obviously I was the other side. This beautiful little stretch of the river with rocks and rapids. Yeah, sorry Canada, not really rapids are they, but you know what I mean. With this valley with the trees either side. There's a fence over there blocking this footpath, and a barrier against the bridge blocking people from getting on it. I wonder if it's because of the rain, or is there some subsidence? You can see the fence here as well. Let's see what it says. Oh God, close to that edge, you know, where you could just suddenly disappear. It's I know some people don't mind it, but it scares the life out of me when you can't see the drop as well. Oh, it just says footpath closed. Maybe the bridge needs some work, or it's just too slippery. Footpath closed, please use alternative route. Yeah, no explanation why. Maybe just it is very close to the edge there, so maybe the ground has just slipped away. Ah, what a shame. It's a lovely little bridge, that. Anyway, away from the edge. Whew. To this little spot. I saw people sat here last time, obviously a nice little picnicky spot for people, and you know, with the lovely forest over there and the little valleys all coming together here, and the sound of running water as it comes down this extra little brook here, which is lovely, isn't it? Just look at that. Oh, yeah, that'd be great to pitch your tent next to that and just have the water lull you to sleep. I'm just taking a detour off my my planned route, because this little gorge here is just full of beautiful colours and browns and greens, which I know I keep going on about, but it's just breathtaking. And following this little brook up, I wonder if this one has a name too, because it is just about as big as the other one, which is the Goyt, or is it still known as the Goyt when it's such an early tributary. But I just saw this out the corner of my eye. Look at that, it's amazing. What an amazing waterfall. I could hear it first, and then I saw it out of the corner of my eye. Ah, oh, lovely. It just reminds me of Wales. The sound and the sight, something magical about that. I don't know why, but we recreate these things in films and fairy tales, and you know, you can even get like mini electronic ones for your desk and stuff, can't you? And people have waterfalls in their garden, in their koi carp pond, and you know, what is it about it that attracts us to it? Just the power, the energy of water coming to its resting point. Yeah, amazing. I could sit here and eat my lunch for an hour and still not get bored of it. But must go on. Must plod on. And also must come back again because there are so many footpaths that I've passed today that I haven't explored yet. I mean, apart from the one where I think I had done it before. And this escarpment here, look, this ancient rocky escarpment, you can see it's all covered in moss and lichens. Isn't that amazing? How was that formed? How was that bit of land formed to be like that? That's just amazing. A cliff well away from the gorge of the river. Was this once a much bigger river, do you think? Or was that just part of some weak land that crumbled? These are the questions that I ask myself about every time I come on a walk, and it's just, you know, it's one of the enthralling things about getting yourself out into the countryside, is because you discover so much, and yet so much is still left unanswered. Anyway, I'm still going to stop waffling on and have a cup of tea, I think. Actually, I do remember seeing some time back now, but on the top of the moor, that, you know, on one of the footpaths, please beware, because there are old mine shafts in the area, and perhaps this rocky escarpment that I was talking about just now is actually the face of an old quarry. Who knows? I've just spotted this as well over here, where at the bottom of the rocky escarpment, and it looks very much like the cave entrance. Don't know, natural or otherwise. That does look like it goes down further, and I'm not going to explore any more than this, but that certainly does look like it's an entrance into the underworld. Very dark and foreboding. Oh, who knows what cave systems are lying under these hills, and perhaps they were man-made, but perhaps they were also exploited by the miners that came, and I'll try and find out, if I can, what the old mine shafts around the area were being used for. Was it coal or some other material? If I find out, then I'll put it on the screen. Anyway, the road continues after this little parking lot here, and just to remind people that it's still a one-track road, there's the no entry signs. Beautiful colours still holding on there, oranges and yellows and touches of reds, and the gorge really has deepened here, with a huge drop off down there. If you can just see the river coming into view there, and it's 2-3 times wider than it was half an hour ago. And just as we come over the brow of this hill, over there in the very far distance, in almost the centre of the screen, you can just see the first glimpse of the reservoir, possibly the first or second one, I'm not sure. So that's where we're heading, and it's really nice just to be on this side of the river for a change, because it's very much natural forests, and some planted coniferous forests by the looks of it too, which obviously being worked. You can see a stand of fir trees up there further up the hill, so I'm glad that it's being managed, and it's just so much more pleasant. Being amongst foliage and trees instead of the very bleak, marshy, boggy footpath that runs the other side. Not that that was, you know, an unpleasant walk. It was very enjoyable, but it's nice to be this side for a change. So as we get down there, come down the hill, the incline towards the reservoir now, you can see the river has completely widened out and lost its momentum as it comes up against the reservoir. I don't know if there will be a wall protecting the river from the reservoir. I imagine so. Hardly a sound now, down out of the wind. A lot warmer than it was up on the tops there, and the river doesn't make a sound now as it spreads out and widens out and joins the reservoir. Very peaceful. Just the distant rumble of an aircraft. So I'll follow this road round now and see what this side of the reservoir has to offer. The poaching of fish is a crime. Oh. Well, I shall have to fry them or put them in the oven from now on then. Little car park here for Forestry Commission, Urwood Hall car park. So there is a managed by the Forest Enterprise, whatever that is. And if memory serves, somewhere up on that hill, probably there's a map over there and a little footpath leading up, is Urwood Hall itself, or at least the remains of it. You can find many videos on YouTube about it, and I will go up and explore that at some point because it looks quite interesting, and maybe even attempt a wild camp up there. But yeah, that's for another day. Still got a few miles to go. The main reservoir obviously on that side, very calm and peacefully still today. You can see the other side on the hill there where I walked last time. But I just noticed across this little bridge here, this very dark, foreboding offshoot of water. Perhaps it was naturally here as a pond and it just became part of the reservoir when it was flooded. But the water is very dark. Very foreboding little pool. So leaving the first reservoir behind now, coming up to the wall and the road that joins, or that goes across from one side to the other, and found myself going up another steep hill. So might have to strip off a little bit in a minute. This is obviously a very popular little place here. There's a big car park and Goyt, Forest, Urwood Hall, Kettleshume. That sounds like a nice place. I don't think I'll have to go up that hill behind me. That looks really steep and horrible. So I'm hoping I can get alongside the reservoirs this way. So no, even on my dodgy map and having a quick scout down there, I don't think there's a footpath. Or actually I've just seen one. Just let me see if I can check that one out. Yep, Fernley Reservoir. So thankfully I don't think I'll have to go up that road, that steep road up there. And I can follow this footpath down here instead. The alternative, of course, is to go back over the other side of the reservoir and follow the route that I've taken many times before. So I'm quite thankful that this is here, and I hope it continues all the way along the side of the reservoir to the end of it. So I just love those lovely chaps up there. If this path going downwards, signposted to the reservoir, does actually continue along it to the end of it, and they said it did, so I'm going to take their word for it, and hopefully I can get along it this way, because the path, the other one that forks up to the left, was heading back towards that steep road again. So it'll be really grand if I can get along the reservoir this way Oh, does it actually cross it though? Is that the problem? Well, there's only one way to find out, I guess, but... So yeah, apparently, obviously you can get across there as well. Look at that steep bank going up to the roadway across the reservoir, and then this huge man-made bank coming down. So the reservoir building really is quite an art. Quite a lot of manpower goes into it, or went into it, I should say, a long time ago. Buntal across the footpath, and the slightly man-made weir over there. Obviously the release valve, if you like, for the water above. Buntal, can't remember that being a place I went to on the other side, but never mind. Irwood, that's the name of the top reservoir, which I always forget. And Fernley, which is the one we're thankfully going to be able to walk along now. So, great. Not as many, I've just caught the end of autumn and the leaves falling and stuff. But never mind, still looks very picturesque. Lovely. What a great day out. And I'm munching frantically on my very delicious seed and nut chocolatey honey bar. This little thing amused me. Tree stump where they've obviously done some coppicing. And someone's been chopping around, you know, like they do with an axe. Trying to get the, take away enough of it so it goes timber. And then thought halfway round, sod it, got the chainsaw out and chopped it off there. And it's not the only one. On this coppiced scree, if you like, if that's what you call it here, someone's done exactly the same there. Chopped around and then thought, sod it, can't be bothered with that. And there. And there. In fact, a good majority of the large trees that have been felled on this edge of this slope, someone's done exactly the same. Who can explain that to me? Maybe even Jen, my sister. Maybe you can explain it, having been a lumberjackette. Can you see what I can see? Let's see who the first one is to spot it. This is assuming that I can get up there. I'll give it a good go. Oh, sorry, camera angle is going to pop. As I climb up this steep incline to show you something I spotted from a mile away. Can you see the size of that? Oh my god! This tree is riddled with them. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's almost like little elf steps going up the side of the tree. And then it continues up there. Huge fungi. And I seem to remember finding something very similar on, again, a silver birch, as this one is, on one of my last walks. I think there were, a couple of walks ago. And was it a silver birch polyp or something like that? I'm going to have to find out. But look at there. These are beasts. Absolute beasts. And they don't look very edible at all. Thank you to Google Lens again. I've re-identified this one, and it is indeed birch polypore, so I was nearly right. Inedible. Has been researched for I think it was tapeworms, the chemical that can get rid of tapeworms. But if I scan down to the bottom of this lovely birch tree, I spotted another thing down here. Only a few of these on the floor here. And again, thanks to Google Lens, the best match that I can come up with is some kind of amanita. And again, just be careful, this is deadly poisonous. Of course, don't rely on me or any other. Of course, don't rely on me or anyone else on YouTube for that matter when you're identifying mushrooms and fungi. You know, especially if you intend to try and eat them. Some of them, a lot of them are deadly poisonous. A lot of the ones that are edible have very similar ones that aren't, so just be careful. Teach yourself slowly, get lots of books about it, spend lots of time identifying the little the gills and the colour and the texture of the top of the mushroom, and where it's growing, and all those sort of things, and many other things too. You know, you need to be absolutely sure, because one tiny little nibble and that could be game over for you. So be careful. I certainly don't know anything about mushrooms. You know, I'm only using Google Lens and what I've seen from people like Hayes Outdoors on his channel, who seems to know a lot more than I do and is still cautious himself. But he at least is he's got that extra confidence where he can identify chicken of the woods, whatever it's called, you know, the one that tastes like KFC when you fry it up, and other little hedgehog mushrooms and stuff like that. So I suggest you go and I'll put a little link to his channel if you like, so you can go and look at his foraging and what he gets up to. But that's one good thing about coppicing and forestry and keeping control of the forest, like they're obviously doing a good job here, is that it's very natural. You know, the forests naturally just do, from the result of fire or disease, swathes of trees and whole acres can, you know, just suddenly be destroyed, or landslides, and then a whole process starts where the land is reclaimed, and fungi are a huge part of that. Fungi and bacteria, and it's the whole cycle of turning it all into soil again, really nice, good quality soil that the next generation of plants and trees can then thrive on. So it's a very natural thing that man is taking a hand in, if you like, to encourage this, and also obviously get some wood from it at the same time, get some timber. So good to see. And people complaining about forests being chopped down all the time. It's got a lot of advantages. Really, it really is a delightful little forest. And look at this, another little troll bridge over a stream. Oh, I love these walks in the Goyt Valley and the Ethro Valley. They're just so full of surprises. Oh, wow. If you believed in fairies, this is where you'd find them. Just superb. And it's nice that somebody at some point has gone to the effort to make these little paths and walkways. Approaching this tree here, and I saw some other people looking at it, and wow, at first I thought they were more birch polypores, but first of all, this isn't a birch. Look at the size of them, going up all the way up to the top there. I mean, this thing is huge. If you look at my hand compared to the size of it, and having done a little bit of research, it turns out it's called artist's bracket, which makes sense, you know, like the palette board that artists use. Edible apparently, but you wouldn't want to try it because it's just too woody. These things are enormous. God, they must be, I don't know, I'm not very good with distances. 100 foot tall? Christ almighty. They're like at least halfway up my flat, and that's a 15th floor building. Hello. You come to say hello? can't be that bored, surely. Look at all that green field you've got. Hello, mister. Or Mrs. maybe. Hello. You look very young, you lot. For meat, maybe? I don't think you're dairy, are you? Lovely beasts. I wonder what you're thinking. So once again, stops for a quick tea break next to the end of that Fernley reservoir, and the valley continues, of course, and the Goyt river will be down there somewhere in the ravine, and paths unknown to me again. I'm still coming down the left western side of the valley, and a couple more miles I reckon and I'll be down approaching the outskirts of Whaley Bridge. So looking forward to getting down there and maybe having a pint when I get there, as usual. I'm just hoping that this little path will connect up somehow with the roads on the outskirts of Whaley Bridge, so that I can actually get down there. I imagine it will. It looks like quite a hefty track that I'm on, I guess. And there's a chill in the air again now, so I might have to put some extra layers on. Must keep reminding myself that the sun sets a lot earlier these days. Is it 4, half 4 it starts going down? Something like that. And it's now 3:15. So gonna get a bit of a trot on and hopefully get to Whaley before it gets dark. So lovely to see the sun shining on that distant hill over there in the distance. Looks like a pile of gold. The footpath is veering away from the Goyt Valley now, alongside this very deep ravine here. Nice little farmstead perched over there on the side of the hill, and it looks like I'm going to have to go down and then back up the other side somehow. The footpath does a kind of a zigzag, so don't know if my legs can take it, to be honest with you, but I think once I'm up the other side, homeward bound. Maybe can't see that over in the distance in the sky. I've just gone behind the clouds, but a virgin plain glinting like a golden arrow in the now dwindling sun. And those golden hills over there really are spectacular. I wish you could see that with your own eyes, the sun glinting on them, as the rest of the valley sort of fades into slow darkness. And I'm coming down this, following the footpath instead of going the road, which I know will take me to Whaley Bridge. But the road meant that I would have to double back on myself, and then in the zigzag that I mentioned just now. So I'm trusting my instincts and following this path through farmland, boggy farmland, in the hope that it will actually take me on a more rural route down to the town. But as I say, I'm following my instincts, and touch wood, fingers crossed, toes crossed, this is the way I'm meant to go. Of course, as the light fails, it's more difficult to pick out whether I'm meant to go down that way or not. You know, is there a gap in the fence? I don't think so. I'm going to stick to this. There's got to look for clues, you know, when you're out and about. And one thing that I've noticed on this little walkway across the field is that there are dog footprints. So people obviously do walk this way, and touch wood, it leads in the right direction. I'd hate to have to double back on myself, but anyway, let's see. Well, I've just come from that way across the fields and skirting that forest, and I've just noticed this path here. I don't know if that would be a better one to have taken. I don't know. I can't remember seeing anywhere where that would have connected with, but at least it's good to see a sign, a familiar sign. Maybe try that way another time, going the opposite direction. This seems to be where the path leads now. So, yep, keep plodding on. This is what adventure is all about. And as I mentioned in my last Whaley Bridge video, trying something new has an element of intrepidation about it, you know. But once you know that route, it's stuck in your mind, or at least it is for me. If I am successful today with this route, and it does bring me out where I want to be without having to do any doubling back, then I'll remember it for next time, and my confidence will grow. And this is what it's all about, folks, you know, in life in general, but certainly on a walk like this where you're venturing into pastures new, and the light of the day is failing, and you need to be somewhere to catch a train. See, now the footpath goes across the field this way and veers away from the brick wall and the tree line, but I can see all the way over into the distance the faint brown line through the field, which tells me that it must continue, and I can see dwellings down there, you know. And these days, pretty much, unless you're in Scotland or some other country where, you know, it's sparsely populated, these days, where there's a dwelling or a farmstead or a house, there's pretty much usually a tarmac road, and occasionally, if you're not right in the middle of nowhere, there's streetlights and such like, or even buses, you know, or taxis or cars, someone you can thumb a lift. So all is not lost. I'm not in the middle of the Sahara Desert. I know that over there is where Whaley Bridge is. I can see and hear the traffic. I can see the buildings and hear the traffic. And so, you know, I'm confident. Watch my dreams get shattered now. Well, boy, am I glad I'm past that field. That was the squelchiest, boggiest field I've ever been to. And although there was a clear, darker path across it, and my Scarpa walking shoes have held up quite well. At one point I did go a Burton and my left foot went straight through into about a foot of squelchy, disgusting mud. Loads of flies out now. So my shoes weren't any protection against that. Gonna have to put everything in the wash when I get home and let my shoes dry out for a few days, I think. Give them a good brush or something. Whew, glad I was through that. And a bit of a tarmac path now, track here, so that's good. and uphill. Come on, come on. You can do it. Last one, surely. No false summits. Thanks to the lady in the yellow. Found this little hamlet now. Lovely little, posh little place, little church. Excuse me, I just swallowed a fly and I'm hoping it went down the right hole, not the wrong hole, if there is a right hole to swallow a fly down. So yeah, follow the road round, she said, and turn right. So that's what I'm going to do. That's a lovely old church, that. Wonder how old that is. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research when I get back and put it on the screen. It's a very old looking window and the towers. Yeah. And almost like those tiny little armament holes. Interesting. St. James of Taxall. So this is Taxall. Been meaning to come here for ages. Oh, look at this. This is lovely. Yeah. She did hesitate, the lady, and say that I was going to say follow a footpath, I think. But probably thought that would be too taxing for me. Too taxing in Taxall. Hello, lovelies. Look at these. Some lovely donkeys. Oh, aren't they friendly as well? Coming to say hello to that little family. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh. You can't eat my jumper. You're nice, aren't you? Oops. Oh, aren't you lovely? Oh, you're so friendly, aren't you? You come and say hello? Goodbye. Hello. Are they donkeys? So I heard you say alpacas, I thought.
No, I think it's dogs. She likes alpacas.
Oh, right. Hello. Can I get down to Whaley that way, through this path?
Yeah, just follow the path. When you come out where they're doing, cross over a road, keep following the path. And then you come to where they're building the new houses up Mac Road, and you come out on Mac Road.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And then go down Mac Road, you're in Whaley.
Lovely, thank you. See you later, chaps. Oh, that lady was helpful. So, whereas the first lady was also helpful, of course, she was probably trying to make it easy for me going down the road, rather than explain the footpath route. But that woman and her little kid saying hello to the donkeys told me that it's okay to come this way, down here across the road. And I'd rather go down a footpath, you know, especially when it's a nice little enchanted avenue of trees like this, and become a child again and kick the leaves out of my way as I'm walking. Great fun. You can really see the light starting to fade now though, so I did a good job leaving early today. Ah, and blimey, that fly's still trying to come up. Oh. I think I'll have to edit out some of those sound effects, so if you don't hear any, I just think you class yourself lucky. Oh, look at this. Look at it. Amazing. Beautiful colours. Greens, reds, browns, yellows, reds. I've said red. Maybe not that way. This way? Do you think? Come on, help me out. Oh, lovely. What a fantastic, glorious day it's been. Who would believe that it's gone mid-November and I've had such a beautiful day like this. Oh, let's hope there's many more of these to come. I'm praying for a nice, crisp, snowy winter. That'd be good, wouldn't it, to come out when it's a bit more wintry, a bit more Christmassy. Oh, I can't wait. Trouble is, most of the time, the Manchester Basin is just rain, rain, rain. Anyway, last little None of them, I hope. Leg. And I'll catch up with you in a bit once I've got my breath back. Talking of fairy tale cottages and landscape and woodland, look what I've just seen here. Fairies meeting place, isn't that lovely? And there's even a little door into the tree and little houses for them to live in. Little fairies. Some shells, look. Oh, isn't that nice? And a badger for some reason. Onward ho! So as I make the descent, hopefully, into Whaley Bridge itself now, you can see the houses starting to pile up on top of each other, and the groundwork being laid here. Huge, great big building site fenced off, probably for more houses, but they're not as nice and stylish as the ones that have been here for years and years, decades or centuries. Some monstrous toy box things probably. Bet the residents aren't happy about that. But, you know, we do need new houses, people do need places to live. So these little hamlets and villages and small towns are being expanded wherever they can find the land to do it. It's going to be very boggy here though, but they have to put, oh yeah, you can see that they've got to put loads of drainage in to make it suitable land for building on, and it's quite a slope as well. I'm hoping I can get through here into the town itself. So nearly at the end now, and sad thoughts, got to go to work tomorrow, but I've had a good day today and I'll wake up with jelly legs, but I don't care. This is what life is all about. So as you can see, I made it down into Whaley now, or at least the outskirts, and the feet are aching, feet are squelchy, but I'm over the moon with joy for the excursion that I've done today. It'd be interesting to see how many miles it turns out to be. I'm looking forward to a pint now maybe, and a nice bath when I get home. And thanks for joining me on this video. And it's been good to get out, and hopefully again at the same time next week. And to be quite honest with you, it's good to have got out a little bit earlier in the day, as I mentioned before, because as you can see behind me, although it's maybe even with the colour grading it won't be quite as dark, but it really is starting to set in now. The clouds are rolling over and the light's failing, and if I'd been up on those hills or in those forests, squashing across that field in the dark, trying to work out which way to go, then maybe things would have been a bit different, and I wouldn't have been, nerves would have kicked in. But that didn't happen. So setting off earlier this time of year really is a good thing to do. Thanks for watching. Please like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Finally made it. The railway pub, which as you can guess is next to the railway. So cheers everybody. A nice plain pint of Wainwright's bitter, which seems suitable and apt for the journey that I've been on. So I'm going to enjoy that, because I've got about 40 minutes to wait for the train, and I can't wait to see you next time.